Hello, my name is Paul Priestley. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Paul Priestley Art. Now today we're going to be learning how to draw buildings in perspective but looking from below. So the building is above. Yes, it's going to be interesting. So come on, let's make a start.
Drawing buildings is all about understanding eye level. Eye level is always the horizon. As you can see here, even if you move up and down, the horizon will move with you. Eye level is always the horizon. Now, imagine, I'm just going to sketch something very, very quickly here. This is not part of the exercise that we're going to look at. Just drawing a little landscape here. Notice the horizon line. You see? There. Now, if I was in the real landscape, I wouldn't be able to see the horizon line, but I would know where it is because of my eye level. Eye level equals horizon line. So if I want to draw buildings from below, I need to be looking up. So therefore the horizon line is going to be low. Now I need to put in two vanishing points. If you don't understand about vanishing points and perspective, have a look at my video on 2-point perspective, which I'll put at the top there. Now we're going to draw the first edge of the building. The left side of that surface will go to that vanishing point. Now you notice here I'm just taking the lines from the point and I'm getting that little rectangle drawn in. That is in perspective. The same applies on the other side. To the right of the line must go to the right vanishing point. You see as I've done there, and I can put in the blocks. Now little section here just to put that block in. You can already see we're looking up at it. Now this tip, if I draw a little cross here and then do the vertical, that vertical is in exactly the right place in perspective, as you can see. Right, the surface to the right goes to the right vanishing point, as you can see here. There we go. Now imagine I've got another building next to it, another block. I start with that first line first of all. I'm now going to draw things on the left side of that line, so it goes to the left vanishing point. See, I'm projecting it up, as you can see there. I'll draw another little rectangle as though I can see the other side of the rectangle. I can't really. Draw my cross, take the vertical, and I can then put the gables in for the side of the building. Okay, everything now to the right of the eye, you see, can go down here. Now, if you want to use a ruler for this, do so, but try and train your eye to do it. It's much more effective. There we go. So I've got my three lines in. I'm now going to put in the sides of the building, the edges of the building, and so on. You can see now we actually look, the buildings look as though we are looking up at them, as though they're on a hill or something of that sort. You see? All because the building is above eye level. It's above the horizon. Now imagine it's got a nice path. We're going to suggest the hill there. Look, just drag down some lines here. Imagine the path going up to these buildings. There might be maybe farm buildings, something like that. Now, if we're going to create a sketch and you're outside creating a sketch, then we don't need a lot of detail. All you need to do is suggest the shapes. Now, if you'll notice here, these bushes are just a series of lines, little scribbles almost, and then blocking in underneath with line and shading. And because they're in context, we will read them as bushes. Here, you see this wiggly line here? It's a tree. Doesn't look anything like a real tree, but in the context of a sketch it works perfectly well. You don't need to put in all the detail. Notice how that dark edge there has against the building has made the building come forward and push the tree behind. When you create edges rather than outlines, it always works really well like that. Now imagine there's a fence running down here. Because it's in the distance, starts off very, very small but gets larger as it comes forward. But remember, all the lines must be vertical. And I've just put a little dotted line along. Do you see? It just suggests. That's all you're doing with the sketch. You're suggesting. And yet the detail just appears almost by magic because your brain fills in the detail. You see, the same here with trees. I'm just blocking in, just using line, blocking in with a line. If you watch previous videos, you'll know a lot about that. See where my eye level is? So if I was actually looking at this, that is the view I would see from where I was standing. You see, so we just put in a few little trees in here, blocking a few little areas here as well. And you'll notice I'm just scribbling, but because it's in context between various lines, marks, the different types of marks that you make here will add interest to the piece. Do you see what I'm doing? Lots of little marks, little lines and such like, little shadows coming off there. And we'll put the shadow in for the buildings. Now, if we imagine the sun's on the left-hand side here, you see, the sun will be shining down, cast a shadow from the small building onto the larger building. There we go. So we're just blocking that in. Put another little tree behind. Notice how that dark area throws the building forward again. Now, the background, right? The hills in the distance are drawn very, very lightly, so it creates depth in the drawing. Notice how those hills look further away. You see, because of the difference in tone, the darker tones will always come forward, the lighter tones will always recede into the background. Now, if you were putting some windows on here, then you will use the same vanishing point as the wall they're attached to. You see? The same here. This one has to go back to the right hand side because it's on a wall where the vanishing point disappears to the right. If we were doing it on the other wall, it would be to the left and so on. Right, we'll put some shadow in here, just emphasizing the shadow of the building, obviously casting a shadow over the ground around it. And we'll just develop the shadow now. So just putting a few horizontal lines, which in contrast to those verticals that we've been putting in. Put a little bit more detail around here, I think, and block that area in. You see, just that wiggly line on there suggests the top of a bush, and then putting the strong line underneath suggests that bush is growing upwards with vigour and vim. You see? And it makes it look much more interesting and effective as a drawing. Okay, we're going to put in a little bit more of the horizontal shadow now. I'll strengthen this up a little bit, you see, because all of these things would effectively cast shadow. So we're just blocking in some of that horizontal lines, as you can see here. We'll just emphasize the shadow on those posts as well. And we'll go up the side of this little path here. You see the bushes on the left would cast shadow all the way up that section there. Just put a few little blocks and lines in here as well, just to emphasize that a little bit stronger. I think I'll probably strengthen the shadow just a little bit on the buildings here as well. Again, if you can get rid of outline will always make things look a little flat, but you can see here we just strengthen the shadows, make it look that little bit more effective. There we go. Right, we're coming near to the end of this now. Remember that the eye level is the important element here, and that gives the emphasis of looking upwards as we're doing. I'll just finish off now with a few little finishing touches. I might put a little bit more shading, possibly just to suggest the roof tiles, just a few little lines on here at the top, and I think we'll just put a little bit more on the left hand side here, just a few more little bushes, just suggest one or two little things just to balance up the effect. But you can see now how the distant hills, in contrast, because they're so light, contrast with what you see that I'm drawing effectively in front of that. Now, we're coming to the end of this drawing, and I just want you to just take a moment now and think. Do you see? The horizon line is here. It is not where that red line is. It's a mistake a lot of people make. I hope your drawing's gone really well.
Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and learnt something about drawing buildings from below and looking up. If you have, then please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click the little black bell as well so that we can keep in contact. That would be wonderful. Also, if you are interested in supporting the making of these videos, then please check out my Patreon channel, where you'll find lots of interesting rewards in return for your patronage. That would be wonderful. Goodbye!